Sustainable Land Development Code hearing meeting. And at this time, the agenda indicates 6 cases, but I believe that the last 3 of these cases have been tabled. So the cases that we'll hear today are case 25-5090, case 25-5040, and case 24-5330. And I would just ask staff if there are any additions or amendments to this agenda.
Hearing officer, there are no amendments to the agenda.
Thank you. My name is Marilyn A. Bear, and I am the hearing officer for this meeting. At this time, I would call the case of 25-5090, David Anchondo variance request.
Thank you, Madam Hearing Officer Haber. My name is David Ruiz. I'm a Development Review Specialist, Senior for Land Use Department. Before I start, we did get a letter of opposition after we did the submittals.
Mr. Reese, is this the only public comment that you received?
That's correct.
Okay. And that is a 2-page, and it will be hearing exhibit 1. Thank you.
So David Achondo, applicant, requests a variance of Chapter 9, Table 9.11.2, dimensional standards for the Tres Arroyos de Poniente. It's a residential estate to allow maximum height of 23 feet. The community district overlay allows for maximum of 18 feet. The site is located at 818A, New Mexico 599 Frontage Road, within Township 17, North, Range 9 East, Section 29, Commission District 2. The applicant has obtained a development permit 24383, to construct a 5,500 square foot residence in the process of building a home for his family. Santa Fe County Code Enforcement received a complaint that the height of the residence was not in compliance with the height requirements within the Tres Arroyos de Poniente overlay. Therefore, the applicant received a stop work order from Santa Fe County Code Enforcement. The staff had reviewed the approved permit and identified that the permit had been issued in error, as the maximum height in the base zoning district is 24 feet in height. The maximum allowable height in Tres Arroyos del Poniente overlay district is 18 foot in height. Staff met with the applicant to inform the applicant about the review error, and the applicant agreed to apply for the variance. The applicant states, I did all I had in my hands for this to go the smoothest way possible. My permit had been signed and approved a while back. Now I'm forced to stop and look for alternatives. There's no way I had inflicted this upon myself, since the permit was received with 2 different departments. The building now is sitting at 23 foot, and the code says it should be no higher than 18 foot. The applicant had addressed the variance criteria, and staff responded to the applicant comments. This condition and exhibits listed below are hereby submitted as part of the hearing record. Staff requests the hearing officer memorialize findings of fact and conclusion of law in a written recommended order. The Santa Fe County Planning Commission may be holding a public hearing on this matter on May 15, 2025. Thank you. At this time, I stand for questions.
Mr. Reeves, the area that this house is in, are there other structures that exceed the 18-foot, like accessory structures like barns?
I'm not sure of that answer. I do believe, because of the last letter that we received, that there's a picture of a house next door to this one that is higher, but that was permitted in 2002.
I'm looking at that photograph. Do you have that one?
Yes.
And which house are you talking about is higher? Which is the house that's under construction? I'm guessing it's the one.
The one on the
left?
left-hand side.
Okay. And is that one on the right, the one that you're referring to as being higher?
Yes.
Is it in the same,
Overlay?
yes,
Yes, that's correct.
it is? So how, so that is not in compliance, is
So
that correct?
That was, I looked at the permit and it's in 2002. So that was before the
I
the
see.
SLDC.
Okay, if the house was already there, right. Is the house that we're talking about, is it a two-story house or is it a one-story house?
Do you mind if I grab my notes? I believe it's a two-story house. Three?
It's a two-story house?
Two-story house.
So in your report, I think you indicated that, that this could administratively been approved to the extent of 10% of the 18 feet, which would be an additional 1.8 feet.
Correct.
So really, we're talking here about a difference of, I think you indicated 3 feet, 2 inches, is that correct?
Yeah, sorry, I had my page flipped over. I didn't read that part. But yeah, it's a
2 inches.
3.2, yes.
And-
Hearing Officer Aber, just to clarify, the house is a single story. It is not a two-story or a three-story. What makes the roof higher is there are clear story windows that make that roof line higher. So it is just a single-story house.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Sorry. Thank you, Dominic.
I don't have any other questions, Mr. Rees, thank you. Is the applicant here?
Yes, he is.
Would you come forward?
I can't hear you. I swear the testimony I give is the whole truth. My name is David Anchondo, and my address is 4300 Paseo de la Sequia.
Mr. Ochondo?
Yes?
I noticed in that photograph that that house, the other house we were talking about that was there in 2016 when the code became effective, it certainly has a pitched roof, and apparently it is higher than the 23 feet we're talking about. Is it the only house in the area that has that kind of a configuration?
I mean, I've seen another house. Yeah, I've seen another house further back. It's kind of the one towards behind this one with the silver roof.
Yes.
It's a brown roof one. I am not sure on the specific measurements, but it does look like it's a pretty high pitched.
It
Not
could
that it's high.
be,
The ceiling is pretty high. I mean, you know.
Okay.
So, like I
Have-
said, it's pretty far apart from the house. I wouldn't say, but it's the same structure type.
I guess the dormer windows is the part of this, your structure of your house? Is it?
Yes, the one on the left.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my house.
So it wouldn't be just removing those because apparently the roof is.
No.
So you'd have to completely.
It would have to go down all the
re-roof.
way to replacing trusses and the whole, the whole roof, basically, because it wouldn't just be removing any dormers or cutting the roof short. Basically, right here, where it would be, looking at having to redevelop the whole truss system on the house, So it's, I think it wouldn't be fair for me, to go ahead and go through all that process when I did everything the legal way.
And it would be an expense.
I have not even been looking for anything like that because I spoke to these gentlemen here that have been really helpful with me, but it's not really something that is in my budget, you know. It's already been a couple months since I've been stopped, and it's, you know, the weather. The most I could have done for the house was dry the roof in. So my OSB, all that stuff, is getting weathered and stuff, and I need to kind of like move forward, you know. I know it's not something that falls in with code, but I feel like something has to be done, you know.
I understand. All right, thank you. Mr. Archando, just so you know, what I do is in 15 business days, I'll prepare a recommended order that will then go on into the process. But thank you for your testimony.
Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else in the room who wants to make a comment on this? Okay, if you'd come forward.
Yes. Mr. Williger, 68 Camino Espejo, Santa Fe.
Mr. Williger, what did you say your first name is?
Tom,
Tom?
yes. So I was the leader of the TAP planning group that developed the community plan that is now county code. And I just want to mention a little bit about that development of that plan so you have the background. So members from around the TAP area participated in many, many meetings over a decade to develop the plan. The plan was developed by consensus, so everything in the plan was agreed to by everyone who participated. When the plan was finalized, or nearly finalized, it went before community input, had 2 public community meetings. Everyone in the area was notified of those community meetings. The full plan was available at those meetings. And part of this plan was this 18-foot height limit. And the reason for that height limit is because the vision of the plan is to preserve the rural character of the community. The people in the community felt that the natural views were very, very important. And the proposed variance is, yes, it's a 5-foot increase in height. Yes, you can say that administratively, they could have raised it a little bit, but I think that's beside the point. The county code says 18, and we're asking for 23. That's 5 feet extra. And this house really illustrates why 18 feet was about the right number. When you drive up 599 and look off to the left, this is what you see. This house is like right there, and basically the part over 18 feet is what goes over the skyline. So the house that there's another house that has pointy roof that's nearby, is not nearly as imposing. Even, I wouldn't say that that anyone should have allowed that one either, but that's not nearly as bad from a visual point of view. The fact that this one, and the fact that you're considering this, the neighbor, in thinking about what should be done for this one, is really important about why this one would set a precedent. So if this one gets approved and the neighbor's approved, how can anybody say anything shouldn't be approved later? Looking at this house and looking at the 18-foot requirement, to me, this house is clearly inconsistent with the vision and with the plan of the TAP plan. So Mr. Anchondo held a public meeting in February where he got community input. At that meeting, he stated to us that if he had known of the 18-foot limit, it would have been fine. He stated that his architect designed the house with 23-foot height. He further stated that the problem is only expense of having built the top section and removing it. He also stated that he had spoken to county staff and they had told him that approval of a variance was assured. He also stated he was continuing to work while the stop order work was in place. Now, I might ask, what would happen if the variance is approved? I feel that there would be permanent harm to the community by changing the rural character of the area. Not just this house, but the many variances that will follow using this one as a precedent. And one of the requirements for a variance is that it has to be in the public interest. And my view is that this variance is clearly not in the public interest. Now, what happens if it's denied? We all feel a great deal of sympathy for the applicant. What happens if it's denied? The applicant would remove the top section of the house, making it fully compatible with the vision of the community. The applicant would very likely work with their architect and with the county to cover an appropriate part of their costs. And further, denying the application would show that the county does care about the carefully developed plans of its communities. County staff argues that as they made a mistake in permitting, a variance should be approved. However, the fundamental mistake was that the house was designed out of compliance with county code. A clerical error on the part of the county staff delayed the county becoming aware of this violation. And I feel very sorry for the applicant. His architect made a serious error, and the county staff didn't notice it. However, I feel it's not reasonable to ask the TAP community to suffer just because the county staff inadvertently allowed the applicant to start building when they should have denied the permit. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wellinger. Are there any other comments? Yes, please.
Yes. Kobe Gas, 68 Camino Espejo. Should I go ahead? Okay.
Could you spell your last name, please?
GASS. S is in Sam.
Thank you.
The TAP plan, our community plan, was created by the residents who are included in its boundaries. Almost 30 years later, we still live here. The process of creating the plan took years because of the active participation of many people with different viewpoints. The plan is the result of all those perspectives, and it is an ordinance, not a voluntary guideline. I understand Mr. Anchondo's frustration with the fact that his construction plans received the go-ahead from the county. I would like, though, to add information that was not included in the case manager's report. Mr. Anchondo hired an architect. The architect designed a building that does not meet code. That is an issue between Mr. Anchondo and the architect. The fact that the architect erred does not mean that a highly visible, non-compliant building should stand on the landscape for the next 40 or 50 years or more. The location of this specific non-compliant building is likely to lead to requests for additional height variances in the future, and the precedent is being set here. Additionally, adjoining lots might lose value because of the view obstruction created by this house that was not anticipated by the code. Mr. Anchondo's project was red tagged before the public notification meeting, yet he continued to work. At the neighborhood notification meeting, Mr. Anchondo publicly stated that he was continuing work while the project was red tagged. I notified the county land use administrator of this situation by email on February 17th, and I have a copy of that, and work still continued. I live close enough to the house to see when work is being done on it. This is relevant for two reasons. The first is that Mr. Anchondo's house is 85% complete, as emphasized by the case manager, only because he continued construction while it was red tagged. The second point is that while the original error was made by the architect, Mr. Anchondo has not made a good faith effort to find any solution other than completing the building. At the public notification meeting, Mr. Anchondo said he would have been happy with a I guess we can't call it 2 stories, but you can see in the picture with the dormer windows, it is a 3-level house, with a 2-level house rather than the 3-level house his architect designed. The 3rd level of the house had not been roofed when the initial complaint about the height was made. That would have been an excellent time to stop construction and consider options for how to proceed. Instead, Mr. Anchondo completed the roof and worked on the interior all while red tagged. This is an unfortunate situation all around, but Mr. Anchondo has made it worse with his unauthorized activities. The county did err. If Mr. Anchondo wants to pursue financial damages, as he has said on several occasions, well, that is why the county has risk management for genuine errors such as these. As a county resident whose taxes help fund risk management, I would rather see my taxes contribute to a settlement than have this house completed as designed. But the settlement should exclude any compensation for Mr. Anchondo's investment after the house was red tagged. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Gast. Are there any other comments? And just to clarify, Mr. Ruiz, I think that the staff has indicated that this is not a 2 or 3 story, it is a 1-story house, is that correct? Thank you. Are there any other comments? Mr. Anchondo, did you want to say something else?
So, I would like to clarify a couple of things. I had permission from the county to dry in my roof. The roof is dried in. We still need to actually do the roof. I understand that certain people are not really familiar with construction, but my roof is nowhere near done. There was no construction or no work done while I was red tagged. What I was doing was drying in the roof, which I had, I was allowed to do that. I have emails, I have paperwork, not paperwork, but I have emails talking with Joseph when he stated that. Also, if the house is literally all you see coming up 599 or whatever, it's literally on a little hill. I mean, the house next to it is like on a little valley if you look at it. I mean, so of course you're gonna see it. I mean, I don't know. If you travel a mile down towards 285, there's this huge building that is, I don't even know what it is. It's towards Via Tercera area. I mean, did anything of this, is anything in that Tres Arroyos area? Or, I mean, there's just,
I don't know the boundaries of the Tres
You know,
Arroyos
I
either,
mean, I'm
but
just-
to go back and clarify, when you say you were drying in the roof, are you saying that you were
it's just a single sheet. It's a
protecting
pitched
it
roof.
from damage of the protecting the
Yeah,
roof of the
because
house?
it's obviously cost me money. I'm not gonna just throw this all to the trash just because. I mean, if it wouldn't have been because of the neighbors that pointed this out, nothing of this would have happened. I know this was not in code, but I mean, what do you think I should have done, or I mean, also now that I remembered, I bought these plans before I even had the lot. I've had these plans. I bought the lot. The architect, I mean, I just find it odd how, I mean, I don't express my feelings based off what I see I mean, I know, I find facts, I like to put this out there. I bought the plans way before I had the lot.
Okay, so an architect
I
wasn't
bought the
involved.
lot back in 2020.
I see.
So the architect, I had talked to him way back because I had plans to build that house elsewhere. It didn't work through. I ended up buying this other lot. Now, I mean, pointing fingers is really easy, but I mean, I would like somebody to put themselves in my shoes, It's not their money, it's me in the end, I'm not a rich man. I work to provide for my family, so this is their house. I don't know what to do.
Thank you, Mr.
And that's all.
Machado.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments on this case? Yes, please. come forward.
Yes. Emily Brownold, 82 Sierra Azul, Santa Fe, 87507. I just want to second what my neighbor said about the master plan for our overlay. And this is a very unfortunate set of circumstances. This builder has been a gentleman. He spoke with us as a group in February without being difficult. And I came today because I'm concerned about the long-term precedent. There are other requests for variance. There are other requests that affect this overlay, lot splits that may be coming down the pike. And I don't feel that there's been consideration for the long-term plan and all the background work that went into it. So I'm hoping that there can be a mutually satisfactory resolution for this gentleman and the neighbors that are having their views impacted broadly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, please, come forward.
I do. Ann Noble, 40 Calle Verada, Santa Fe, New Mexico, 87507. I was at the meeting in February when we met with Mr. Anchondo, and he said that he had no idea what the county codes were or anything like that when he was building. And I kind of think it's very strange that people don't know what the codes are before they start construction in an area. To me, it seems like that should be one of the first things that you should look up and find out before you start building a house on a lot. I do realize it's a very unfortunate thing that happened and that the county did give him permission to build it, but that was an oversight on the county. He still should have checked out what the codes were in the area. They've been in effect for 30 years. I was on the original planning committee, and we worked very hard on it, and we did it for a reason, and it was to keep the area as it was in a nice rural setting. We don't want large buildings. We don't want, part of the bypass plan was to keep out a lot of to keep it residential, to keep out a lot of non-residential construction, to keep houses at a normal height so it didn't obstruct the view of other neighbors, and to make it sort of sit in with the environment. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and he's probably, I don't know what his recourse is. I feel it's very sad, but on the other hand, I think if we allow this to go on, if the county allows this to go on, that setting a precedent in this manner will affect everything going forward, and will point to this building on over and over and over again, saying, oh, well, he got away with it, so we can get away with it. Just the fact that, one person did it means that other people are going to try to follow. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Noble. Are there any other comments? Well, if there are no other comments, again, as I told Mr. Anchondo, I'll prepare a recommended order in 15 business days. Thank you all for your attendance. The next matter is case number 255040, Ridgeline Manufacturing Conditional Use Permit. Ms.
Good
Ortega.
afternoon, Madam Haber, Hearing Officer Haber. On this case, we received the certificate of posting as well as the posting photos. We received the posting photos on Monday and the certificate of posting this morning.
And what about the mailing?
We had the mailing letters as well. We got those on Monday as well.
Okay, thank you. I was going to ask you those questions.
Dominic's gonna hand out a copy of the email with the timestamp on it.
Thank you.
But it didn't get put on the agenda exhibits.
All right, thank you.
My name is Brianna Ortega. I am a development review specialist. Today I come before you with case number 255040. Ridgeline Manufacturing, conditional use permit. Matthias and Megan Roybal, applicants, are requesting approval of a conditional use permit to operate a manufacturing business from their 67.10 acre parcel. The property is zoned residential estate in the rural commercial overlay zone. Chapter 8.11.2.4 states that a manufacturing business is a CUP within the rural commercial overlay. The subject property is located at 3236 NM41, Commission District 3. Summary. The applicant states the existing uses for the property is where his residential home and multiple barns on the property remain, and they are used for the family's farm. There is an existing shop on the property that will not be utilized for business, but will be for his own personal items. The existing residence is 3,000 square feet. Proposed access will be off of State Highway NM41. In addition to the existing residence and barns, there are 2 existing accessory structures, which are a garage and carport. The applicant proposes to construct a 2,800 square foot accessory structure garage on his property to operate a manufacturing business and utilize the second floor as his office. The applicant is requesting approval of a conditional use permit for a manufacturing business to manufacture parts for Sandia and Los Alamos laboratories. The use of the structure will be for operating CNC machines, material, metals, and plastic components, and small tool storage. There will be 1 non-resident employee, and the operating hours will be Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. There will be approximately 4 visits per month from clients, as all deliveries will be coming through parcel deliveries such as United States Postal Service, FedEx, and UPS. The existing residence on the property was built prior to 1980 and will not require permitting. The stables as well were built prior to 1980. No permits were found for the existing carport as well as the existing garage. During a scheduled site visit by staff on March 4th, 2025, it was identified that the applicant had started grading without a development permit. The subject property is zoned residential estate in the rural commercial overlay zone. Chapter 8.11.2.4, this zoning allows for a manufacturing business as a CUP within the rural commercial overlay zone. As per residential estate, there can be 1 dwelling per 2.5 acres base density. The applicant addressed and staff reviewed for the following applicable design standards as Chapter 7 Sustainable Design Standards for the SLDC CUP. In response to Section 4.9.6.5 CUP criteria, the applicant states the following. The applicant has addressed the CUP criteria and staff has responded to the application comments. Building and Development Services staff has reviewed this project for compliance with pertinent SLDC requirements and any relevant ordinances, and has found that the facts presented support the request for a conditional use permit to allow a manufacturing business. The use is compatible with the current development within the affected zoning districts. The use will not impact adjacent land uses, and the application satisfies the submittal requirements set forth in the SLDC, inclusive of the conditional use criteria set forth in Chapter 4, Section 4.9.6.5. The review comments from Santa Fe County Fire and reviews from county staff have established findings that this application be approved to allow a manufacturing business in compliance with state requirements and the SLDC, including the pertinent design standards. Staff recommends approval of a conditional use permit to allow a manufacturing business, subject to the following conditions. Hearing Officer Haber, may I enter the conditions into the record?
Yes, please.
This report and the exhibits listed below are hereby submitted as part of the hearing record. Staff requests the hearing officer memorialize findings of fact and conclusions of law in a written recommended order. The Santa Fe County Planning Commission may be holding a public hearing on this matter on May 15th, 2025. Hearing Officer Aber, I stand for questions.
Ms. Ortega, I just have a few. Have you received any comments on this application?
No.
None. Okay. On page 2, you refer to a CNC machine. What is a CNC machine? The structure will be for operating CNC machines.
Here and Officer Abear, CNC is it's used to machine delicate parts down to millimeters. It's a computerized, basically lathe system that is used to take a CAD drawing and make a metal or plastic or composite part from the CAD drawing.
All right, thank you. I have another question. On that same page 2 of your report, you indicate that there will be one non-resident employee, but on page 8, in the applicant's response, it stated that we are not a retail business that is open to the public, and we have fewer than 10 employees at any given time. So I just felt like that was a pretty big discrepancy between the 1 and the 10.
Yeah, the applicant didn't specify. They started with the TAC meeting as stating they only wanted 1 employee, and when they did the report, when they submitted for the report, they stated they wanted 10. They were going to possibly have 10 employees in the future. Yeah.
And as far as your conditions, there's indication that permitting of a commercial well, I didn't see anything about the well except there was on page 3 a reference to a shared agreement up at the top of page 3. It looks like there might be a typo in there because it says applicant has provided the county with a copy of shared agreement as well as the well permit from the state engineer's office. So is it a shared well agreement?
Yes, there's two residences on the building, on the property, so they share the well together.
And where does the commercial well come into this? Will there be an additional well, a commercial
Yeah,
well?
they're wanting to put a commercial well right next to the building. So they're wanting to put an additional well.
And so that is, they still need a permit for that, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, I don't have any other questions. Is the applicant here on this case?
The applicant was going to be online. I'm not sure if they're online.
Oh, okay.
Here in Officer Abear, I am not seeing the applicant online or anybody indicating that they wish to speak online.
Okay, I'm not sure I've had a case before where the applicant didn't come. I guess that's different. Okay, is there anyone in this room that wants to speak on this application? Well, I will prepare a recommended order within 15 business days. Thank you. So the final matter to be heard today is case 24-5330, Verizon New Wireless Communication Facility, conditional use permit.
Thank you, Hearing Officer Abear. Marie Martinez, Building and Development Review Specialist with the Growth Management Division. Case number 24-5330, conditional use permit. Issue: New Wireless Communication Facility, conditional use permit. SunState Towers applicant, Pinnacle Consulting Incorporated agent, requests a conditional use permit to allow a cell tower on a 27,782 acre tract. The leased area will be 40 by 40, 1,600 square feet. The site is within the agricultural ranching zoning district. Table 10-3 allows for a height of 150 feet within the AR zoning district. Appendix B, use matrix, illustrates that a new wireless communication facility within the AR zoning district is conditional use. The applicant states, we are proposing a new 150-foot tall monopole wireless communication facility with a 40 by 40 by 8 foot tall fence compound for associated ground equipment. The applicant addressed and staff reviewed for the following applicable design standards as per Chapter 10, Sustainable Design Standards, and Chapter 7, The applicant addressed and staff reviewed for the following applicable design standards as per Chapter 7, Sustainable Design Standards, and Chapter 10, Supplemental Zoning Standards of the SLDC. Staff recommendations. Building and Development Service staff has reviewed this project for compliance with pertinent SLDC requirements and has found that the facts presented support the request for a conditional use permit to construct a monopole 150 feet in height. The facility meets the purpose and intent outlined in the section 10.17.2 of the SLDC. The use and structure will not impact adjacent land uses, and the application satisfies the submittal requirements set forth in the SLDC, inclusive of the conditional use criteria set forth in Chapter 4, Section 4.9.6.5. Staff recommends approval of the conditional use permit to construct a monopole 150 feet in height within the 40 by 40 leased area, located at 364 Lone Mountain Road, subject to the following conditions. Hearing Officer Hebert, may I enter these conditions into the record?
Yes, please.
This report and the exhibits listed below are hereby submitted as part of the hearing record. Staff requests a hearing officer memorialize findings of fact and conclusion of law in a written order. The Santa Fe County Planning Commission may be holding a public hearing on this matter on May 22nd, 2025. Thank you, and at this time, I stand for any questions.
Ms. Martinez, did you receive any comments on this application?
Hearing Officer Hebert, I have not received any.
I'm looking at page 45 of the, it's just the site of where this is. It's Exhibit A. And my question is, how far from Highway 14 is this site? Do you know?
Hearing Officer Hebert, are you talking about the setbacks?
No, I'm more concerned about the fall space of the 150-foot tower. Is it possible that if it fell all 150 feet, if it would fall on any road?
No, it wouldn't. It is actually set back 150 feet, and that is the setbacks for that area.
Oh, okay.
Here in Officer Hebert, the towers are designed to break in half. They don't fall, so it'd be a 75-foot radius around the tower. That would be a danger of fall zone.
But just in case it all fell at once, it's still going to be within this?
It would still be out of the roadway, yes.
Okay, all right. Do you know, Ms. Martinez, where this, you referenced, or the Pinnacle reference, but it's in your report, the AT&T tower, the AT&T site, say that the only wireless communication facility in that area is an AT&T site co-located on a PNM power pole? Yeah, I mean, it's not, don't need to spend any time.
Okay.
Is it within a mile or?
Officer Hebert, I do have the gentleman, Chris Carroll, the representative, the agent for Pinnacle here, if you'd like to answer that question.
I'll ask when it's, okay, just a moment.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, I have no other questions, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And would the applicant like to make comments on this application and answer my question about AT&T?
I do, sir. My name is Christopher Criel. I'm with Pinnacle Consulting, the applicant, on behalf of Sun State Towers and Verizon Wireless. And thank you, Ms. Hebert. Those are good questions. And thank you for clarifying that. As they were saying, they do, fall in the midpoint. They're designed that way, but it's 150 from the property lines, which is the fence, and there's an additional 30 or 40 feet of right-of-way. So it's more than the height of just within the property lines itself. And then there's additional right-of-way as well. Where we place it is actually just southwest of the existing AT&T. The current AT&T facility is basically a co-location, so it's pretty limited on the bandwidth that they can actually cover. And I actually have my RF consultant. He can give a presentation, and he goes through that and explains that if you want. So, a little slideshow.
I was more or less curious about
Yeah,
how far away
so
that was.
it's about 180 feet, I believe, 200 feet southwest of the compound. So it's not allowed to basically fall in any structure. That was one thing that pushed the location was the western edge property line, as well as the existing AT&T facility. And so they have a small compound and some small antennas on existing wooden pole. Okay. So the goal is that we build this good infrastructure, and all three wireless carriers hopefully will go on there. Verizon being the anchor, hopefully T-Mobile will be next, and then AT&T most likely, I assume, would want to jump onto it just because it's a lot better height and coverage, just because all wireless carriers are struggling in that general area.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and the good thing about this is that this compound will also be designed to host all that ground equipment. Currently, the way it is, if you did it where you co-located each one, you would have to build a ground compound for each carrier. So this is really kind of maximizing our proposed wireless facility for that purposes.
And you haven't received any comments on this?
No, we actually, we spent probably a couple years looking for sites around this project. So we've talked to the neighbors to north, where it's at now, the Turquoise Trail. We had probably like 3 to 4 in-person meetings with them and other neighborhood meetings on different locations. And they recommended this because it's the closest next to tall, high voltage power lines. So it really just kind of blends in with the tall infrastructure already in place. Mm-hmm. And it's the least obtrusive we can do. And it's also kind of in between the sight lines where we're using existing access, existing gates, power and telco right there. So again, we feel it's the best option available in this general area.
I think I just had one more question. When do you anticipate this would be operational?
We do have to fulfill all the requirements laid out in the conditional approval, so that will probably, we do have all that pending. Honestly, as soon as possible, at their building permit approvals, there are some FAA and FCC approvals that we have to go through on a federal level. Mm-hmm. So they're pushing this to go as soon as possible. It's a high priority site. Verizon has an infrastructure plan to cover state routes along northern New Mexico, and this will be essentially the catalyst to help start that in the general area because the next nearest site's about 10.67 miles southwest. So this general area is really bad in service, and so they're pushing to get these done right away. Had some delays with different permitting and things on our side. Honestly, access is tough generally in that area with a lot of washes. So, finally we're at a good spot. So pending these approvals, we'll be, they're pushing to get construction by the end of 2025 if possible.
Thank you, Mr. Curiel. I don't have any other questions.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I just want to say everyone's been really nice and helpful. Thank you, Marie. for all your guidance. So we'll do all we can to comply to all your requirements.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And again, I'll have a recommended order in 15 business days.
I appreciate it.
Is anyone in the room wanting to speak on this application? And not online?
Here in Al Bear, there's nobody indicating any wish to speak online.
All right. Well, if there's no other matter, then this will be recessed. Thank you.